to have this thing called TNT, and so Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we would have like the undercover, we call them, narcos, right? Narcos, and
Oh
so
man.
they would dress regular, you know what I mean, hoodie Tims or whatever the case is,
Oh man.
and just run down on people. So yeah, people was getting jailed for weed. Now in New York, weed is legal. So
Oh, I didn't even know that weed is legal in New York.
yeah.
Shout out to y'all. I did not even know that.
About time. Yeah, but yeah, we used to have this thing called TNT. So everybody knew on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh man.
Yeah, like if you like, even if you had like a little, dime bag or whatever, yeah, you better get rid of it because they was running down. And anyone who was in that area, like even if you wasn't even hanging out with the street guys, you just happened to be walking past them.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
that was it, man.
Man.
Yeah.
But now, all of a sudden, right, with the stroke of a pen. So
Mm-hmm.
miss me with all that, man.
Right.
The thing is for men just to be safe. Number one, to go home and come back alive and safe.
Right.
And when you're overseas, do your research before you go. Whatever, if you're going to be into something, make sure it's legal there where you're going. We don't want to break no laws overseas. We don't want to break laws here. We damn sure don't want to break laws overseas. Make sure it's legal. And then after being legal, make sure you're safe. And then, just move with respect.
Right. Absolutely. So the last question that I have for you, with mongering P for P and things like that. Now, do you think that from your perspective, do you think that it can desensitize a man if he does want to actually get into a romantic relationship with a woman and or possible marriage?
Boom. With all things, like that other statement by your moderator, Garden Scientist, there's a nuance. And no, I'm not taking a chicken shit stance on this, but reality is there is a nuance. It's absolutely possible that can happen. That depends on the person. But largely more than that, I would say no. The reason I would say no is because by default, right? Whether guys want to admit it or not, by default, most guys we have the propensity to be, promiscuous, right? It's in a lot of our natures to be with many women, to sleep with women, to sleep around, to test the water. What they say, to sow our royal oats. Maybe when you're younger in the military, you go to all these different ports and you sleep around. If you're not in the military, as you're growing up, you be with many women. You have a big database of being with many women. And then when you're ready to settle down, we can do that. If anything, it broadens your horizon. It gives you a bigger landscape, and you understand women more so than a guy. The trope of the guy who marries his high school sweetheart, and basically his whole life, he might have only been with her, had sex with her, or maybe two others, like less than five women in his whole life. But basically marry his high school sweetheart, which is nice and good and applaudable. And that's the narrative that society would like to have. The guy who marries his high school sweetheart through infinity, and it's just that. The reality, most guys, we're gonna sleep around, we're gonna rack up bodies, we're gonna get these experiences. And then when we're ready, we settle down. And that's just normal. So since it's like that, even normal outside of like so-called mongering, the P for P, I would say no. But there's absolutely some guys, depending on that, it could desensitize them and damage them. But one thing I would say more than that, what I would say, more than desensitize, I would say it would enlighten them to the point they won't put up with a lot of bullshit. Because I monger so much, because I was passport bro, I went around the world and I slept with dozens and dozens of women, damn near Wilt Chamberlain numbers of women. I dealt with so many women, a big database, plethora of women. Now, even when I do decide I get tired of that, I turn in my player card. I don't want to be a player no more. I turn in the player card and I settle down, guess what? I'm not going to put it with your bullshit because I'm experienced. I've been around so many women. I done slept with so many women. I ran through a lot of women. Pay for play, free, whatever you want to call it, that I'm very experienced. I've been around a lot of women. I'm not so much desensitized, but I'm not going to put it with your bullshit either because I know my options. I have options. I'm very experienced. So, but then again, like I say, I have to take everything with a grain of salt and be nuanced. And I don't want to be chicken shit and half-ass with it and like be politically like safe. There is a segment of guys who it could maybe emotionally damage them where they can't connect. But that you don't normally see that in guys too much. There is a subset. Now, what I would say, now you didn't ask me this, but I'm gonna kick it back. What I would say, that tends to happen more with who? The opposite sex. See, all right. Women enlarged. Women are not men. They're not built like men. They're not designed like men. And they're not designed for them to have dozens and dozens of sexual partners like a man can, right? Whether you want to say from, hey, this is grown folk talk. They are the receivers, right? They're the catcher. They're the receivers, not the giver, right? They take in the male energy. They take in the man. They're not designed to have dozens or 100 or 200 male bodies. Whereas a man, right, wrong, or indifferent, a man being a butterfly, being promiscuous, being a what? Being a monger, going around, we can do that. Oh shit! I just tore down, burned down the internet. So I would say I would throw that back at you to say that would be more of an issue on the women's side, on the female side. With a woman having a lot of sexual partners, it would make it harder for her to soul bond with some guy. So chick don't want to say, I just watched a clip from, I guess, the other podcast or whatever podcast. Shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
A chick who on there said she does OnlyFans, and she says right now she's 20. I forget. I want to say she was 22, 23. She already has 50 bodies. She said her own self she wants 300 bodies. She wants to add 250. She only got 50. Well, I say only. She has 50. She has 50 bodies and says she wants 300 bodies. I don't know why she picked that number. Maybe it's an even number. After she gets 300 bodies, she wants to settle down. But you know what? That's really not for a woman to do. Women are not built like that. Now, do they do it? Yes, we know they do it, right? Especially nowadays. They do it, but traditionally, they're not built like that. So for a woman to be promiscuous, a promiscuous woman, a woman who sleeps around like that, it will damage her from pair bonding. A man can pretty much get away with it because we're already built to conquest. Now, maybe there is a magic number where it's a point of no return. Maybe if you really get off into Will Chamberlain, if you get off to 500 women, 600 women, 1,000 women, maybe then. But I would safely say a guy is built to experience a lot of women. It just is, right? We are. So I would say no. I would say no, that a guy mongering does not necessarily damage him from finding a committed relationship when he's finally ready to turn in his player card. A guy can do both. He can monger for a while, have a whole lot of fun. He can sow his royal oats, and then he can land the plane and be happy. For the most part, you do have some guys who it would mess them up, but for majority, no. But for women, absolutely, they're not built like that. They shouldn't even try it. They shouldn't attempt it. A few experiences here and there, is okay. But definitely a woman should not try to move like a man, should not try to have dozens or 300 bodies. So to answer your question, that no, for the most part, it's natural for a man to have many experiences before he settled down. And I don't think it would necessarily mess him up. Starting from everybody different, right? So let me clarify this. a normal, rational, reasonable guy. Now, nowadays, throw that, take that with a grain of salt. A lot of guys are emotional. They're raised by the single moms. They have insecurities. They have all kind of other issues going on. So that's where the nuance will come in. But for a regular, normal guy, it's okay for a man to be a man, sleep around for a while, whore around, monger around, P for P, sow your real oils, have your fun, man. Have your fun. Just be safe. Don't break no laws. Don't hurt nobody. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Have your fun. And then when you're ready, find you a good chick and settle down. For the most part, you'll be all right. Oh, man. But women should not attempt that exact same thing. A woman should be a little more chaste. Just a little bit more. Because again, you have a different organ. Your organ is to receive, not to give, right? And you shouldn't receive so many dicks. Come with things and dreams.